The race for the 2028 Republican presidential nomination is heating up, and one name is dominating the battlefield across the nation: J.D. Vance. Nationwide, the Republican primary is shaping into one of the most one-sided races in modern GOP history. J.D. Vance commands a massive 43.9%, positioning himself as the undisputed frontrunner. Donald Trump Jr. follows at 16.7%, trying to hold on to the remnants of the MAGA legacy. Ron DeSantis struggles at 7.4%, a steep fall from his once rising national profile. Rubio is at 6%, Kennedy at 4.6%, and Haley and Christie hover at 4% each. These numbers show a clear trend. The Republican base is shifting decisively toward the next generation of populist leadership, and J.D. Vance is the center of that shift.
California.
In one of the most diverse and complex political landscapes in America, J.D. Vance still shines. With 47%, he dominates California's Republican voter base. Nikki Haley at 12% shows strength among suburban moderates, while Vivek Ramaswamy's 9% reflects support from young conservatives and tech-aligned voters. Ron DeSantis and Marco Rubio, each at 8%, show steady but uncompetitive support. Ted Cruz sits at 6%, unable to break through in this coastal battleground. The story here is remarkable. Even in a state known for moderate Republicans, Vance is still the clear favorite. Florida delivers one of the most symbolic results of the entire race. J.D. Vance leads with 47%, while Ron DeSantis, the state's own former governor, trails behind at 33%. This is more than a poll. It is a message from Florida Republicans. Once viewed as Trump's strongest successor, DeSantis is now losing his influence even on home turf. Vance's messaging on economic populism and cultural issues has clearly resonated stronger. Iowa, the traditional opening of the GOP primary calendar, mirrors the national trend. Vance sits at 47%, showcasing deep support among rural conservatives, evangelical voters, and working-class Republicans. Nikki Haley at 12% does well with suburban and moderate voters. Vivek Ramaswamy at 9% appeals to youth and outsider conservatives. DeSantis and Rubio at 8% each show fading momentum, and Ted Cruz at 6% reflects the shrinking influence of the old Tea Party era. In a state that rewards ground game and authenticity, Vance appears to have both. In Maine, J.D. Vance achieves one of his most commanding victories, 60% support. Ron DeSantis trails far behind at 11%. This state has a unique Republican base, a mix of libertarian conservatives and traditional moderates. Yet both groups appear united behind Vance's populist messaging. Maine shows how broad and diverse his coalition has become. In Nevada, Vance reaches an extraordinary 63.3%, marking one of his strongest performances nationwide. Marco Rubio at 6.7% is barely visible in comparison. Nevada's Republicans include a strong mix of rural conservatives, Latino voters, and working-class families. Vance's economic message, focusing on jobs, border security, and anti-establishment themes, has found a powerful audience here. This result shows Vance's dominance is not limited to the East or Midwest. It includes the West as well. In New Hampshire, known for its fiercely independent Republican voters, gives J.D. Vance 55.9%. Marco Rubio sits at 8.3%, and Robert F. Kennedy at 6.3%. New Hampshire often rewards candidates who break from the establishment and speak directly to the concerns of local voters. And this cycle, that candidate is Vance. His authenticity, direct messaging, and outsider image align perfectly with the state's political culture. In North Carolina, Vance continues to lead at 53.3%. Ron DeSantis follows at 7.4%, Marco Rubio at 5.3%, and Robert Kennedy at 5.1%. This state is a blend of suburban, rural, and evangelical Republican voters, and Vance's ability to appeal across all three groups is the driving force behind his dominance. North Carolina reflects a key national trend. The populist wing of the GOP is still the strongest force in the party.
In Ohio, J.D. Vance's home state, he posts a strong 55.4%, Marco Rubio at 8.9%, DeSantis at 6.7%, and Vivek Ramaswamy at 6.3% round out the field. As Ohio's sitting senator, Vance's deep connection with working-class and rural communities gives him a natural advantage. His statewide reputation is strong, and the numbers prove it. Ohio confirms that Vance is not just a national frontrunner, he is a local favorite with deep roots. In Texas, the second-largest Republican powerhouse in America, J.D. Vance maintains a commanding 44.6%. Ted Cruz, the home state senator, follows at 8.8%, but the gap is enormous. DeSantis at 6.1%, Rubio at 5.8%, Tulsi Gabbard at 4.9%, and Haley at 4.1% show how fragmented the rest of the field is. The numbers reveal something powerful. Even in a conservative giant like Texas, J.D. Vance is the preferred choice of GOP voters. In Vermont, J.D. Vance reaches 61%, one of his highest statewide totals. Sarah Huckabee Sanders earns 8%, and Ron DeSantis gets 6%. Vermont may be a small state, but its Republican base is known for being thoughtful and independent. The overwhelming support for Vance shows his message resonates even in regions where traditional Republicans once dominated. Across every region, from the Northeast to the South, from the Midwest to the West, one message is clear. J.D. Vance is not just leading the GOP primary, he is redefining it. His broad coalition, strong organization, and resonating message have placed him miles ahead of every other candidate in the field. For continuous updates, deeper analysis, and state-by-state political insights, stay tuned to today's Blueprint News.